Hello, welcome everybody to the second kind of annual Kilohearts live stream. I'm George, here with my colleagues, or at least some of them, from my right to my left. This is Per Salbach.
Hello.
This is Per Larsson.
Hello.
Hold on a minute.
Hello.
And that is Anders Stenberg.
Hello.
So, we are here to talk all things Kilohearts, from future plans to past glories, many of them, I'm sure. And also to have some dinner, and it's going to be great. We've got something going on over there that smells terrific already. And we just want you to ask us whatever you want to know. And we're going to do our best to answer. Well, these guys are going to do their best to answer. I'm not going to tell you anything interesting. I'm just going to ask them. They know the stuff. So no pressure, folks. And you people at home watching, first of all, subscribe to the channel, like this stream, and then YouTube will go, oh, people like this, and it'll show it to everyone else, and suddenly it'll be a party. We'll all be having a good time. And get your questions down in the comments below. And also, let us know if something isn't right, if you can't see or hear us. We hope you can. But if anything's a bit weird, then you can let us know, and it'll be good to hear from you. So, to begin with, well, how is everybody doing? Are we all feeling good? You feeling good, Per?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually in my home, sort of, or at least slightly outside of the house, though. My relatives and my wife and some other relatives are running sort of a nature lodging business here. So we're being treated to a wonderful dinner. And weather turned out great.
It's looking good now.
It was kind of hectic an hour ago.
I did a little bit of testing in the car because it was raining.
Yeah, kind of heavily though. So, but
now we're feeling good.
Absolutely.
We've got this fabulous little multi-use, they call it in Sweden, the backlighting. Mm-hmm. It's making us all look angelic. So we'll try and keep our answers well behaved.
Yep.
And keep it up to scratch.
Well, we know that people have a lot of questions. We try to keep up on social media, in our Facebook groups and on our Discord channels and Twitter and whatever. So we know that you want to know more about our products and our plans and our continued development of Kilohertz. So yeah, ask away.
I should say, I'm not being a teenager when I'm checking my phone here. I'm not just like seeing what's going on in town later on. I'm checking your questions. So I'm going to try and keep an eye on things. So get them coming in and we're going to ask the guys. Lots of comments already. So I hope you're ready.
Nice.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, well, I'll just start off with saying that the last year and the first half of this year has been weird for everyone. We've been working a lot from home because of the situation, and I want to say that it has actually slowed us down a little bit. There are things we would have liked to come further on that we haven't, but there hasn't been much we could do about that. We've been doing our best working from home, and we've made great progress where it was possible. So I know some of you have heard rumors from before, or teasers, that we were going to release something before summer. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. We're going to have to postpone it a little bit, but we are toiling away on super cool releases to come. And ask us anything about that, and we'll talk as much as we can about that.
Absolutely. We've got a question already.
All right.
Which is, why are you guys so awesome? Says Evie. Hey. Any sensible answers to that?
That's a tough one. Thank you, Evie. We appreciate it. We do our best, and we are really happy that you guys like the software we're making. So yeah. Anyone else to comment on that? Yeah.
Cool. Maybe we should get into our previously submitted questions. We've been asking over the last week or so on Discord, on Facebook, on Twitter, all the other platforms where you can follow us, if anyone has any questions. So we've got a few prepared ahead of time, and that'll give you all a chance to get your best questions into the comments. Why don't we start with a question from Nick Dwyer, aka Flint Pope. Hey there.
Hey,
Will Faceplant ever be standalone? I'd use it more readily if I didn't have to first open my door or complete.
I'm gonna pass the mic to Anders, I think, for that one.
Let's do it. Name and occupation.
Name name Anders and Anders Stenberg is my full name. I'm technically CDO, I guess, but I think we kind of share that role, me and Per here. But I do a lot of development on products and so on. And will Faceplant be standalone? We have no direct plans to do so, but it's a question that's been asked before, and it's also not never a thing. But we currently don't really have plans to do so. Might at some point, I don't know, but we have a lot of things that's higher on the to-do list that we need to handle first. So, but maybe sometime.
Just for the benefit of myself as an observer, I don't do any development, so it's worth me asking. What are the upsides of having it as a standalone? Why do people want that? And also, why is it difficult for us to do it? What's stopping us from doing it, apart from the obvious time constraints and so on?
Yeah, well, the upside from it is obviously that you can play around with it, do things without having to actually start your door or start something else. So you got a quicker way to start doing things. And since Faceplant is kind of experimental in nature and something you might want to just boot up to do quick stuff in and mess around with, or want to create a preset or templates to use later in your door or whatever. Obviously having standalone would be just a quicker way to get there, in some cases at least. But from a technical perspective, it's not really super hard to do it in itself, but it kind of opens up a new path that we need to continue to support. So every kind of new opening like that is something that we will forever need to support in a slightly different way than what it is to be on a door or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're kind of being a little bit cautious with doing features like that, which open up just a new technical kind of worms in a way, rather than features that are just UI stuff or DSP stuff within the existing product. So, yep, that's my rambling on the subject.
Awesome.
Something we could hope for is that someone develops a very slimmed down VST3 host DAW that's only a single window with a single plugin in it. And that would, we kind of have one internally actually that we use for testing. And I agree with you, Flint Pope, that having that, I always have it on my quick launch bar at the bottom, so I can just bring that up. And often I have this idea for a preset and just bring that up quickly and just sketch it out in Faceplant. It's really useful. So yeah, I hope someone develops something like that and releases it. It could be a good open source project actually to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Neat. You can hold on to it for a moment.
I will.
Who knows who the next question is for? We have a lot of comments coming in. We have almost 50 people watching. This is very exciting. Welcome everybody. We hope you're having fun.
That's like 10 times what we had last time.
Yeah, well, it's great news. We're very happy to see you, and we're very happy to have all your comments coming in. We're going to try and get to all these questions. Apologies if we miss yours. It's no reflection on you personally. It's just a lot of good stuff coming in, so we're going to do our best. And anything that we don't catch, hey, maybe we'll catch it in the aftermath in the comments ourselves. Anyhow,
a big pro tip is to put capital little Q : before your question, and then George will be able to see it more easily when it flies past. If you have a question.
That's awesome.
Yep.
You know your stuff. We've got a lot of good stuff. Let's check out another question here. There are a few interesting questions about future features and so on. So let's take something from Alchemy. Is a granular engine still in the works?
It's definitely something we want to do. We haven't started it yet,
Yep.
except we have some design work done, but we haven't written a single line of code.
Okay.
But it will share a lot of the functionality with the sampler. Like the difficult part is really loading a sample and playing it, pitching it up and down without any aliasing or ill effects. So since we have a sampler, I think once we start doing it, we should be able to have a quite high velocity on making that happen. But we have a lot of other stuff in the pipeline before that we're focusing on,
Yeah.
which I think we will show off later.
And a thought for Anders? Anders, if you just sit forward, I know you're relaxing very nicely, but I want to bring you into this lovely sunny frame here.
Cozy. Yeah, so I think what we've said before, which I think still holds, is that whenever we do release a new generator, the grain one will likely be it. So that's not much of a promise, but at least like it's kind of the top of on top of the list of generator stuff we want to do.
Fantastic. Perhaps a related question. Oh, sorry, Per, did you have? Yes.
Yeah, we have, since early work on any feature is usually my domain, because I do many of the mock-ups and feature designs that we of course discuss all of us together, and then we come up with ideas that we like, and then we start implementing them, and then we often do kind of heavy-handed changes while implementation is going on. But this far, I think I've been the one who has been thinking the most about a granular generator. And let me just speak broadly on faceplant and future updates. So any new generators, I know there are 4 now. There are going to be more. And like Andrew said, granular is, I would say, almost 100% sure to be the first one out. And any new generators, the plan as it is right now is that any new generator is going to be a free update, so it's not going to be anything that you have to pay extra for. And the granular thing that we've been sketching on is really cool. It has like maybe an envelope per grain and chances of, yeah, we've been inspired by many other granular engines around the internet, and there are great ideas floating around, and we want to incorporate as much as possible on a small surface area so as to keep to the kind of schema that faceplant has of easy to generators that are easy to understand at first sight. And for something a little longer down the road, we have been talking about an additive generator. That one is a lot more tricky in our eyes when it comes to fitting it into faceplant, and we have some cool ideas on how that could happen, but let's just say that we have tried a lot of additive synthesis and we don't think anyone is doing it right. So yeah, we have a few ideas for that as well in a few years maybe. Who knows?
Great. Mussar asks, how come Salbark always looks so cute?
Well, it's this conditioner I use, you know.
Excellent. Yeah. There are a few similar questions that I just want to touch on. The Dub Hub asks, in faceplant, can you guys add a feature to the sampler that allows you to speed up the playback?
Yeah, I think Per should speak about that. He implemented most of it.
It was actually in the initial design to have a toggle for time stretching, but we never implemented it because we didn't find a neat way to do it, I think. This is also not super hard to do, but it's hard to do it in a way that it makes sense to the user in the UI. Because once you start to introduce time stretching, then you could do all sorts of things. You could play the sample faster or slower, or just have a constant speed and change the pitch, or have it scan across the sample in all sorts of ways. So it opens up like how much of that will be exposed to the user in that case, and like how do we make it understandable and usable. But since we have the sample and we know what root key it's in, implementing a time stretch is not like super far-fetched.
Awesome.
That'll work at least for like tonal material. Yeah.
For the sampler specifically, it is the biggest feature request we have, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe we should, sorry.
We need
now
a
just
signal.
now we're just coming up with ideas straight on stream here. But we have introduced a new unison and loop tabs and stuff. Maybe we should have like a time tab with
That's
some.
not a good idea. That is a good idea. It's not a bad idea.
Sorry.
That's not a bad idea. Regarding additive, it is indeed tricky. I could see a additive generator happening, but also additive is very CPU hungry, so it's maybe not something we would like people to make ton of. And it's also a paradigm that's so different that it might be a different synthesizer altogether that has like an additive workflow like from end to end, rather than just doing some additive stuff and then doing faceplant like processing after that.
Something that's probably too open a question, but something I always wonder about is, as developers, as creatives in this realm, you've constantly got to argue with choice paralysis, with giving people too much.
Yeah.
Is that easy to do? Is it difficult?
We like to give people too much, but we don't like to make it overwhelming and confusing. So we like to present a lot of choice. But the problem we're struggling with is like presenting that on the screen in a way that's like digestible, I think. And it's definitely the Per's question.
Yeah, so people often ask us why doesn't faceplant make any sound when you first initialize it, and that's a good question, and it's very much something that we decided that is exactly how we want it, because faceplant has so many options. It's basically infinite, and you can construct such complicated presets that no one can understand them at a glance. And trying to put all of those options on the very first screen you see is gonna give you, just like you said, choice paralysis and information paralysis. So clearing everything out and forcing you to learn the basic interaction in order to make any kind of sound is a design paradigm that we chose, because we want people to explore the software and then build presets that are as complex as they like, and since they are the one who built them, they are gonna like have a sort of an understanding of what they did in the end.
I thought you were going to say it's their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is. It is. That's another way of putting it. Exactly. But that's the like reasoning behind that. And I see a lot of people who never tried faceplant. They say, "Oh yeah, I've heard about it." You know, in the comments on Facebook or whatever. And someone recommends faceplant, and then someone else goes, "Yeah, I've seen it. It looks super complex. I don't know how I'm gonna approach that." And that's a shame, because everyone takes a screenshot of their most complex preset, and because they're really proud of what they built. But that's kind of intimidating to new users. So we should make sure to have a lot of pictures of faceplant floating around with just nothing added to it, just a blank interface. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, if you wanna persuade someone that faceplant is great, don't show them a complicated preset. Show them a super simple one with just one or two, one generator and modulator, and that's it. And that will help people understand what's going on, and then they can build on that knowledge further once they get into it.
That is solid advice, I would say. We've got over 50 watching now, 56.
Hey!
And yet, only 16 likes. I implore you folks at home, make the world a better place. Like this video, and everything will be peachy. There's so many great comments coming in also, so many interesting things to pass on to you folks. There was one here that I've had catch my eye from San Jacobs. What do you do to ensure good code quality? The sheer speed and small CPU footprint of your plugins makes me think you're doing something that a lot of plugin manufacturers aren't doing. There's a pat on the back in there and a question. So thank you, San.
Yeah, code quality is definitely a challenge, especially since we sort of have the mindset that we don't release a plugin and then forget about it. We come back to it, we update it, we keep it supported and bring it into the ecosystem, and it keeps evolving with all the plugins. And it's actually starting to become such a volume of code that it's like quite hard to maintain it all. It's starting to get ugly in places, I must say. But we have a quite good system where we, like, if we notice, like I'm working on a feature and it's adjacent to some code that's like less than perfect, we take the time to go back and redo that code and like improve it and make it more maintainable and better. And I think we have a big benefit here that me and Anders have the opportunity to do that, and we don't have a manager. Per is not angry at us for doing that. To take that time, like, oh shit, I need to spend a week to clean this mess up that we left from earlier. So I think a lot of other companies are struggling because they have management that is preventing them from, or like discouraging going back and cleaning up stuff, because it's not often you just create new bugs, right? but like on the whole, you create a better situation in the code. So it's tricky, and something we work quite hard on. You want to add something?
No, I don't really have that much to add. I think that sums up kind of code quality and so on. About optimization and performance, we have some kind of, we try to do things decently fast, but not like insanely fast. So because that would slow down development instead. So we're definitely not the most optimized synthesizer out there, but we're also not like the worst optimized. We try to keep a like reasonable level of optimization where we can still work with things in a not too cumbersome manner, but and move forward without having to take too much precautions from a performance perspective.
And this is also where it comes in with maintaining the old products, because all our products share the same code base. So if we go in and do some clever optimizations to a filter, that will optimize all the plugins that use that filter implementation. So rather than releasing a plugin and forget about it, like, it keeps evolving and keeps getting more optimized as time goes on.
Excellent. Excellent news. I think it's important to do things that are good for the long term, but it's really difficult to do from my understanding, because there's always new stuff that needs doing and there's always exciting things to move on to. And as a lot of the comments are suggesting, you know, new ideas are easy to fixate on, and taking the time to go and make sure that everything's behaving itself properly is...
I think it helps that me and Anders are a little bit of neat freaks when it comes to the code. And we like it when it's good and proper.
Excellent.
It gives us a better work environment, and it's just the right thing to do.
Excellent, absolutely. Now, I want to acknowledge that there is a bug that likes our lens.
No.
Really?
It's really fond of our lens. I may, at some point, get up and blow it away if someone says something really interesting.
From here, actually.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's just hanging out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to enjoy itself.
Yeah.
But maybe
stealing the limelight.
But maybe I can ask one more question, and oh no, Perry's going to do the honors.
He's doing it.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
You fixed the bug.
Let's have another question then. That was easy. How about, this is a good in-depth question from Amir. Hey there, I would like to know, A, which baby steps you took for starting out to design and develop audio plugin products? B, how is a new product designed, meaning prototyping, etc., strategies, how to come up with a concept? This is probably a lot to cover.
Yes.
I just started around May this year to actually get interested in audio plugin development. The least problem I have is probably the math side. I'm a math student. Anyway, says Amir.
Yeah.
So thanks for the questions.
So
We've got two things to cover.
what we're struggling with is the math, actually.
Right,
Yeah. DSP code is the hardest thing we do, but also the thing we do the least of, actually.
Right.
Most of the things that we spend time on are the UI and just making stuff work on different operating systems and so on. Anyway, how to get started? Me and Anders, we started a company, and the idea was first to make games. Then we realized we're true programmers, and games need art and stuff like that. But we actually had worked in the games industry before that, and we had some contacts, and one of them called us up and asked us to develop a tool for audio processing. And we jumped on that and did that. And that sort of got us into audio programming. And we've both been hobbyist musicians a little bit with computer music for a while, so we both had sort of the dream of making a synthesizer. And I had actually made one like as a hobby project. It wasn't finished and it was crappy. And we took that and we finished it, and that became KHS-1, which looks quite primitive now when you look at it, but it was our first step into it. You want to add something? No. Then I'll pass the mic to Per, and he can take the B part.
Sure. So how do we create a new plugin? Well, for one, a lot of the heavy lifting was done around the time I joined the company, which was just about after KHS-1 was released.
Yeah. We had like KHS-1. No one can hear this, but we had KHS-1.
We had
Saturator
KHS-1.
and disperser at that time, I think.
Saturator and disperser, yes.
I've been told in the comments, actually, if you shout, it is perfectly audible. So give it a go, folks.
Okay. Well, so I joined the company at that point, and Multipass was like a seed of an idea for the company. And when I started, we took that idea and we worked on it a lot, I think, and created the concept of the modular software that we have today. So we designed a lot of it in just Photoshop mockups, and then we had a lot of back and forth on how it should look. Should the lanes be vertical or horizontal? What kind of modules could go in them, and we had lots of restrictions, and we tried to like come up with ideas of making it less restrictive and more creative for the user. And then finally we had a sort of a feature design that we liked, and then we iterated a long time on graphics. We had the initial graphics were quite more like, I don't want to say convoluted, but more advanced, with lots of like shading and cool effects, sort of. But then we decided, no, this isn't what we want. We want a workday tool that will not put a strain on your eyes, and it will not distract you with bells and whistles. It's gonna be flat. It's gonna be gray. It's gonna be usable. So that's where we went with that. And then we took a long time implementing Multipass. At this time, Kilohearts wasn't making much money at this point, so we had to do other things to make a living. So we could only spend a little time developing Multipass. So it took a good year and a half, 2 years almost, I think, yeah, before launch. Like I said, we put a lot of heavy lifting into that initial design, but once that was in place, we kind of had a good idea of where we wanted our full ecosystem of plugins to go, with like the long-term goal being to create a synthesizer based on the same system, which later got the name Faceplant. So yeah, right now many of our new plugin ideas aren't so very new. We've had them on a list for quite some time. I mean, we have like lists of 30 to 50 snap-in ideas that could easily go into our system. We just need to find the time to actually create them. When you have this level of experience of creating modules for the same system, it is becoming sort of second nature to take a new audio effect idea and like just realizing it in snap-in form. When it comes to the hosts, there are some more difficulties. Right now we have Snap-Heap, which is like a pedal board, sort of, for a guitarist, and then Multipass with the multiband capabilities, and then Faceplant, which is a synthesizer with like something like Snap-Heap added on the side. And for future hosts, there are ideas. We've been toying with the idea of a delay host that would have like effect chains to each individual delay tap, so you could have various effects at a later time. We've been discussing like multipass, but with other types of splits. There are competing companies that do similar stuff, like spectral stuff that is not just band splits, but other types of splits, like amplitude splits or whatever. And yeah, the ideas for hosts are much more limiting. It's much harder to come up with a good idea for a host than for a snap-in. As I said, we have a huge list of ideas. And it's not just ours. We've had like feature requests from people throughout the years that have made it to that list as well. But it's a long list by now.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's never enough time to do it all. It must be hard to prioritize, you know, to pick the best ideas out and make them happen. And
Absolutely. Starting this year, we had a pretty good list of priority. Yeah, we were gonna release a few content banks. That went well. We were gonna release a few snap-ins. We did one this year, I think, and another one coming shortly. And then we were gonna have a big feature update to all of our hosts that is nicknamed Kilohearts 2.0, which is where we're bringing Multipass and Snap-Heap up to speed with the updated modulation system from Faceplant, so that they will work the same. And to go with that, there are a bunch of utility features that are being improved or added, and we'll go through all of those soon. I think we have a working beta version on this other computer that we're going to show in a minute.
well, I was going to ask actually whether we want to take a little left turn into that or a little right turn into introducing some of the other folks around here. What do we fancy, and what do the folks at home fancy?
Oh,
No, well, let's.
Turn. We need some tinkering before it's
Okay.
Right. Well,
so
Should
maybe
we
we should just
say
bring
hi?
in. We'll bring them in one at a time, and you can introduce them to the viewers.
Well, sure. Yeah. Let's see who's around. Hello, everybody. Hello. I wonder, have we got any volunteers to come and say hi to the people at home? This is Jonas.
Nice to meet you.
There is a microphone.
I
The
get
floor is yours. No instructions.
the VIP chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but should I just?
Well, let me ask you a question. That's what
Yeah,
interviewers
sure.
do. Who are you, and what are you doing here?
I am Jonas Gustafsson. I joined Kilohearts actually just a couple of months ago, so I'm one of the newest guys here, and I'm just coding away, trying to. I don't yet know much about anything, so I'm just trying to be useful at this point.
Awesome. And
I
are you-
might actually have one little tiny finger. I might have something in store for you guys in 2.0, actually. Possibly.
that is tantalizing.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. How do you find the code that you've observed? Are these guys doing a good job?
I would say that the code is not. there's not much wrong to see at all. I mean, this is they are. I've been working with these guys before, and the reason I joined is because I knew they were fantastic guys. I mean, and private and professionally, they are like these guys are.
Yeah,
As you can see in the products, this is good stuff.
absolutely. I've noticed as well.
I'm kind of enjoying every hour working in that code. It's nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And what is your background, Jonas?
I come from computer games mainly, so that's what I've been doing together with these guys. Actually, many years back, we did some fantastic football games. Those were the days, and yeah, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Before.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And any prior music interest or?
I do sing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and I used to play the clarinet.
neat.
So I've come from a musical family. Yeah.
Oh sweet. There seems to be a lot of musical families here in Sweden. It's fun coming from the UK to feel out the Swedish culture. That it seems like a lot of people here have at least some background in music, that they play and they sing and maybe it's a midsummer thing, learning the songs.
Yeah,
and
those are the sort of the learning grounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps that's it. Hey, wonderful. So Jonas will be singing for us later on, and
I'm just gonna sip a bit more wine though. then I'm all for it. Absolutely.
hey, well, great to talk to you. Does anyone have any questions for Jonas over here? These guys don't want to be interrupted
How
right
do you
now.
turn
no.
off high DPI mode for live? It's so tiny. I think I fixed it actually.
Oh, cool.
Faceplant is up and running. Is that? Oh, it's the new.
Are you
version.
actually coding here, or what are you doing?
Why don't we take a
We
peek?
are-
I've got a button here that will show you what they're doing. Do you want to show
Press
me?
it,
Are you
press it.
okay? And Jonas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You can go back to your dinner.
Yeah,
It seems. Here comes the special button.
Cool.
What is that?
It looks.
Hey, let's see if we can do picture in picture as well. I've no idea if it's
It looks
possible.
exactly the same.
Yeah, look at that. There
Is
we
that
are.
us?
That's
We're
us.
so tiny.
We are so tiny.
Yes.
Tiny people.
We didn't prepare this at all,
No.
so I don't have a script or anything. Let's just click somewhere and see what. Oh, that's new. That looks so much bluer than before. But a lot of this is like work in progress, especially that part. I know. No new generators. I'm sorry to say. It's the old Gang of 4. But new is that you can just click in between here to add stuff, which is very convenient. Otherwise, like before, you had to click under, add the filter, and drag it up all the time.
You can hold Alt as well. That was possible before as well.
That was possible before if you held Alt. The problem is, like, I always had one hand on my mouse and the other hand on my MIDI keyboard. Yes.
Your controller.
My MIDI controller,
Yeah.
which made it hard to reach the Alt button.
As we all
So
know.
this is much better in my opinion. I guess if we bring in Snap Heap here, this is kind of new. We have a categorized list now. This always throws me off when switching between the versions, and it upsets me a bit when I go to the 2.0 because I can't find anything. But then, after I've used it for a while, this is so much better because now, instead of just having one big alphabetized list, it's categorized, and that means I know that Slice EQ is down here in this group of 3 stuff. Snap Heap is up here. My
Fantastic.
muscle memory is much happier with this layout
Oh, neat.
after I get some time to get used to it.
And then when we get into Snap Heap, there's quite a big visual difference. Is that correct?
Let's see. It is kind of big. It's kind of beefy. It is a beefy boy. It looks more like the aspect ratio of Faceplant now because we have the modulator lane here at the bottom. And since we want to fit lots of modulators in there, we needed a wider screen. And the easiest way to do that was to add more lanes. And it seems reasonable because now you can also stack more effects here in these lanes. So, and the lanes work just as before. You can have them parallel and serial and whatever. And for the modulators, you have all the ones you had before. You have the pitch tracker and the audio follower. and lots of stuff that we bring in from Faceplant, like the envelope and the LFOs are Faceplant styles.
Now you see, that seems to me to be a huge update, because that allows you to do tons of stuff you couldn't do before as a user. Because before you were limited to kind of tweaking the audio that was coming in and
you
taking...
had 2 envelopes and 2 LFOs, I think.
Right, and now unlimited as in Faceplant?
Yeah.
Hey, cool.
And one thing we've been struggling with is now loading old Snapheap presets, because the LFO in Snapheap was like ever so slightly different from the LFO in Faceplant, and the envelope was slightly different. And this has led us like, okay, we need to create an envelope that does all the things that the Snapheap envelope does and all the things that the Faceplant envelope does in the same box without being weird. And one thing you can do in Snapheap is to re-trigger the envelope with audio, for example, and that has led us to like implement this re-trigger button down here that you can right-click and set lots of re-triggering options for your envelopes. You can have an LFO re-triggering the envelope and stuff like that. So that's really expanded the envelope, and the LFO has the re-trigger capability as well now.
That's fantastic.
And when we load presets, when we load old Snapheap presets, we do the best we can to convert them to these new modulators. So if you used one of the LFOs in your Snapheap preset, you will get one LFO module down here, and it'll sort of copy the settings to that. There are some slight differences, like tiny differences that could possibly lead to audible differences. But for most of the time, it will just load your old preset, and they will work.
That's really cool. Something that always strikes me about this, if I could just interrupt for a second, is that you guys are doing so much work for a little tiny important thing for someone, and that is crucial. It's really important that to that person who has an old preset that would have sounded different, that you put in this time and effort to make that work. And to almost everyone, it wouldn't make a difference anyway, but you take the time to do it.
But it was a hard line to walk, like,
important, you know.
Do we like just not support the old presets? Do we convert them and they're like not really proper, or do we do it like sample accurate? And we've done like, okay, we decided after a while to like not do it sample accurate.
Right.
If you want it sample accurate, you can just install the old version and render out your stuff. Because doing it sample accurate would hold us back in the design for this. But it should be so close that I would be surprised if someone comes to us and complains that it sounds different.
Maybe that's a competition for next year. Okay, sorry, great, carry on.
So that's Snapheap. And I guess if we load up multipass, you will see kind of the same thing, that we now have this modulator lane at the bottom. I think stuff has broken a little bit down here. Don't look too closely. But we have now a global gain control and a mix control on both multipass and Snapheap. Right. Just to, because it's doing the mixing is a very common operation that you want. I want that effect from that Snapheap preset, but I want it at 50%. So like it was no reason to not have that. Also, gain is kind of useful if you want to do A/B testing. So maybe your preset adds a lot of gain because it has lots of distortion and stuff.
I use that all the time, absolutely.
So you can dial it back.
That's really important. I use it. I don't want to use it. I just want to have more gain and have it sound better. But I always have to make myself.
That's funny, the gain bias, that if something is louder, it always sounds better.
Yeah, well, that's true.
It's very strange.
That's completely true.
What else? We have groups in all lanes. We had this in the generator section earlier, where the groups were sort of a technical necessity because the signal keeps flowing until you add a new group. And then I did it wrong, didn't I? That's where I'm supposed to click now. So that creates a new loop, and that stops the signal flows there and starts a new layer. But groups were really useful for people for grouping stuff, obviously. So they could like think like, okay, this is my pad layer, this is my sub layer, and people wanted the same thing in the snap heap lanes. So we had groups here as well. So you can create an empty group, and I can drag multipass into it and say filter and drag this whole group around.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I can even name it to that.
Yeah, which is what it sounds like. Awesome.
Yeah, and minimize it, of course, so
Oh,
it takes less space.
See, again, this is just the kind of little workflow tweaks that are a big deal when you're working hard on something.
This is definitely like a quality of life improvement.
Yeah.
And I was very against this, actually, when we brought it up. Per was very pro groups, I was very anti groups. Because
to implement.
Anders said to implement it. But I'm really happy with this implementation the way it is right now. But what I was worried about that we would add a lot of complexity. Mm-hmm. And groups don't actually do anything for the signal flow. They don't have any like meaning in that sense for the DSP.
Right.
Which made me feel like it was like this superfluous feature that was like adding complexity for no good benefit. But I am converted. Groups is the future.
I think also, without over-promising, hopefully, but our plans are to have a concept of group presets as well, which I think will make them very powerful, that you can just reuse parts of a preset or parts of a configuration. If there is some kind of modulator configuration you do a lot, you can save that as a preset and reuse that like building block. But that's not done yet, but it's kind of, I really hope that's something that
we
will
promise
happen.
it will be done by the middle of July.
You're surefire.
So, yeah. It almost turns groups into like a little mini snap heap. In that sense, that you can have your like, oh, I combined the distortion and the filter, and it sounds awesome. You can have that as a preset. And we could also have groups here in the modulator lane, and hopefully then also presets, so you can have your LFO retriggering your envelope. There's a bug here, Anders. MPE. Mm-hmm. I think someone saw that we have the MPE timbre modulator
MIDI
here.
polyphonic expression,
Yes.
am I right?
Yes. So the MPE is the idea of like, wouldn't it be cool if we could like pitch bend each note individually or do the like pressure individually on them? Mm-hmm. And it would be cool, and it is cool actually. So someone came up with the MPE, like how to encode that into a MIDI stream, but that's not important. But what's important is that we now support it. So on VST2 and 3 and AU, which is all of them, I guess. And there are some others. Anyway. So if you have an MPE compatible controller, you can now play phase plant with polyphonic expression, which means you can pitch bend each voice individually. You will have the pressure module here is now polyphonic. So earlier it was just one pressure value globally. Now it's like one for each voice, plus one globally, which is the maximum of each voice. By that. And we have the MPE timbre, which is like, usually that's mapped up and down. So if you have an MPE controller, you slide up and down on the keys.
It's like a little mod wheel in each key.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
We keyboard players are going to have to do so much practicing,
Yeah.
man. I was kind of happy with it being limited because you couldn't tell how terrible I was.
Here's some very temporary UI, but the velocity, I made it as ugly as possible because I wanted Per to do a nice design of it. But here we have release velocity as well, which is like actually part of MIDI, but like a lot of MPE controllers use that. So like if you release the note quickly or slowly, you can have a different tail of your sound.
That sounds very exciting.
So yeah, MPE. Most of it will just work out of the box. Like you don't have to enable MPE mode. It's just
I have
That's
some
the
comments
right
in capitals which requires immediate addressing,
Sound the alarm.
Lou says, yes, yes, yes. And OMG, 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 you are the best.
That's cool.
Presumably in
Oh,
relation to
I thought about
MPE.
that a lot, actually. Yeah.
So now everyone's going to comment in capitals, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've made a rod for my own back there.
Yeah. But and you
comment.
don't even need an MPE controller to take advantage of this if you have an up-to-date DAW. A lot of them, like Live and Bitwig and possibly many others, now support MPE editing, so you can like draw the pitch bend curve for each note and stuff like that.
Fantastic.
It's very cool.
Yeah, wonderful.
And finally, you can pitch glide from a major chord into a minor chord, which I think is the killer feature for MPE.
Oh.
Do you want to show more details, or should we?
For the MPE, I don't.
Just in general.
Yeah. Well, what do we have? We have some utilities here.
We have.
Remap.
Yep.
Which is first of all, people were very upset that the LFO didn't go to 0 hertz. It now goes to 0 hertz.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason people wanted that is that they wanted to use the LFO curve as a remap of another modulation. One of the reasons. So we both did that, and we added a separate remap module as well. And the idea is that you take your LFO value or envelope value or whatever, and you modulate the remap with that, and that will sort of filter that modulation or whatever.
Cool.
I accidentally showed off another feature, which is these little wires that are hotly debated.
That is so analog.
Yeah,
I can hardly bear it.
And
I can smell the circuits.
yeah, and the reason they're hotly debated is because we've always felt like wires shouldn't be in a software application. Right. But they're more like dashed lines when you think about it, so it's fine. And actually they are super useful because we always had this little hover thing that pops up when you hover a modulation. It would say like, oh, this goes to cutoff, and you're like, cutoff of what? And it's like, I'm not going to tell you. But now you can just follow the line.
Awesome.
And we also have some if everyone leans heavily into your screen and squint, you will be able to see on this little pop-up on the screen right at the bottom that we now show the minimum and the maximum value of a modulation, which is highly useful. And if you right-click on the right location, which is up here, we actually have the low and high range here as well. So this is, and you can actually drag and edit those as an alternative way of mapping up your modulation.
So again, as a sort of proxy for the audience,
squiggly boy here as well that you can.
It looks like there's a really cool balance of like fun new stuff and just workflow tweaks to make it all more valuable and more easy to use.
Yeah.
Is it one or the other that precipitates a new version number? What's the thing that gets us all going?
For me, the biggest big thing is all the new modulators in SnapHeap and Multipass, and that's how it's all started.
Yeah.
But to make that, we had to add features to make the modulators more general, and like doing this kind of quick remap where you just add this little curve to your modulation it's like quite obvious actually, obviously useful. So I'm glad that we have that now. Here's another little hidden new feature.
Actually, they can't see your screen.
They can't see my screen.
No, they can't. Sorry.
I'm just running around brightening up the cameras a touch.
I think they can see your screen.
This is in response to people who were annoyed that they wanted to do complicated modulations from the DAW, and the only thing that they could modulate were the macros. So they had to use all the macros for doing that and sort of map them up. Here we've added 36 slots. I'm sure people will run out of this immediately, but should be enough for everyone. You can take any knob and map it to one of these slots. So drive is now mapped to slot 1, and that will now show up in your DAW, and you'll be able to modulate that drive knob on slot 1.
Dizzler Music says the wires are great, gives it a premium feel, IMO.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I really like them, and just it's also one of these things that were hotly debated, but now that you have them and you work with them, it is immediately very useful. And if we then go back to 1.8, the current live version, I immediately miss the wires. Like they're so useful to just quickly hover and just get a hunch of where that modulation is mapped.
awesome.
And about the wires, we have been getting a lot of feature requests about a modulation matrix, as inspired by many other synths. We have spoken on this before, and we never really liked the modulation matrices, and we like them even less in a modular environment such as Faceplant, because again, the problem with naming stuff is just it's difficult to solve. So, say your modulation matrix says, well, an LFO is connected to a cutoff. That doesn't tell you much. You might have 25 cutoffs on various modules in your preset. So that's one of the issues with the modulation matrix for us. The other obvious solution would be something like Reason does with the like actual real looking wires that are connected everywhere. Those were gonna clutter the interface and obscure stuff. Other companies, not just Reason, but other companies do the same. I think what are they called? Unfiltered audio. They have some really tiny, sleek-looking, cool stuff. But we thought that somewhere in between is a better fit for us. So we did the wires that only show on the hover, and we did the more in-depth information that Per showed you on the right-click on the targets and the sources of your modulation. And I think this is a really, really good mix of the two that we really like.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the power that people wanted when they asked for a modulation matrix is what we have added, but like in a different form. Hopefully, we'll see.
Absolutely. How about we take another question? Or is it time to have a word with your son?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Josefin?
Josan,
Vill du prata lite?
your time in the limelight. Come on. I'm gonna bow out.
Yeah, take a little break.
Yeah.
You should sit there. Du får sätta dig där Per.
Rotating cast.
Everyone is hungry now, I think.
So, hello, welcome.
Hello, should I hold this?
Yeah, just about that
Little
far
part.
away. And
Okay.
you are only allowed to say interesting things, but that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
This is your son, Josefin.
Yes.
What would you like to tell everyone all about you, or what's the story?
I'm in this context. I'm a web developer since I don't know 2007 maybe.
Oh yeah.
I'm also part of the other business here with my sister. She's not in the picture now, I think, but
Not quite.
no.
She's cooking.
She's cooking all the food, and we run this lodging in forest thing we have here in the farm. So I do that.
A little closer, I think.
Hello. Yeah. I do that part time and Kilohearts part time.
Neat. And have you got a musical background?
No, I'm. I don't know how it's. What you say in tone deaf. In tone deaf, I think. I have absolutely no knowledge in music whatsoever.
So that's kind of interesting. How does it feel working in an environment where music is so important to so many of your colleagues and of the customers?
Yeah, I know. I feel
do you feel like
a
it's
betrayal and no, but I know web, and that's my thing. And the rest of the guys know sound very well. So I'm very confident that my lacking of sound is totally fine.
I often find it's not helpful. I mean, because my career has been a sort of story of hopeless generalism and kind of knowing a little bit about a bunch of stuff, and it's actually not all that helpful sometimes, because you get kind of lost in the mist of things, and just having your grip on things is so difficult but so important. And anyway,
Yeah, but I mean, that's why we complement each other really well. You know the sound and all the music stuff.
Yeah.
And I help you.
yeah, absolutely.
reach out.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful place here. I've never been before. I'm delighted to be here and see the place. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so. I don't know if you have talked about this allemansrätten we have in Sweden, where you actually allowed to go out in the forest and experience the forest, even though you don't own the land. And that's something we're really proud of here in Sweden. And what we try to, we want to invite people to the forest here and to experience the forest. And
Yeah.
it's really nice to have this beautiful landscape to
Yeah,
invite
absolutely.
people to.
It seems a fundamentally Swedish thing, though, to, if I can philosophize for a second, to be sharing, to be a little bit generous. It's not a take what you can culture, is it?
I
Does
don't
that-
know. Yeah, maybe we have always wanted to share this beautiful place we have here. I think since we moved here, we try to have like big midsummer parties and invite everyone, and try to like have a big markets. I don't know the name, but like spring markets, and it's
Neat.
really nice to have people coming here. And
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's if I lived here, I would just want to keep everyone out, I think. Naturally, I would want to say, this is mine, it's beautiful,
Stay
and I'm
out.
having it. But no, to have people here to eat, to drink, to play music, to
it's
live
really
stream,
nice.
it's a special thing.
we have actually talked about the music festival also. That's our future plan, to invite some bands and a lot of people.
Wow. Exciting
We
stuff.
I think the plan is to have the scene here,
The stage, yeah.
the stage, on this little meadow.
Wonderful. Hey, well, more news about that sometime soon, I bet. Awesome. Well. I wonder, maybe we should take a couple more questions from the chat. How is the situation behind me?
Switch.
Well, they're
It smells so good, you guys.
This food is almost ready, I think.
Yeah.
Hur lång tid är det kvar till matserveringen? Okej, då kan vi börja med den nu.
Wow.
We're having a few dishes, some...
We need a microphone over here, Per.
We're being treated to a few dishes. There's an entree with some local deli meats and cheese. And then there's homemade bread. And then there's, for the main course, I think there's a vegetarian wok.
So we
A wok.
Wok.
we have some sausages from wild boar
That's exciting.
and yak,
Nice.
straight from.
Is
that the word in English?
Yeah, it is.
Or elk.
No, yak.
Oh, yak.
They live in Tibet.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so local
very
Tibetan
local.
yak.
Yeah, local Tibetan
As
meat.
local as they get.
Yeah.
This is something. Okay, so here's something I can tell the rest of the world about Sweden, which is that all the foods here are from. You think it's kind of just part of Europe, but there's all kinds of crazy Arctic stuff going on up here. Yak and
But
elk.
actually,
and,
these I just heard from the side here that these yak are actually local, so you can
Wow.
actually breed them here in Sweden as well.
Can I taste some?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Which one is which?
The dark one is yak.
Okay, we'll zoom in on the yak sausage.
It's delicious. Now we switch over to talking food for the
Terrific.
rest of the time, and also this local cheese here that is really terrific.
That tastes just like yak.
Yeah, exactly how would you
amazing.
guess it tastes?
That's fantastic. It's really good.
Cheese, anyone?
Let me take a bit of cheese before
Yeah.
it disappears,
Me too.
and then I'll stop.
And also this is edible.
I love that.
Nice.
What's that name in English? Steve, try it.
Clover.
No, it's not clover. It just
No?
looks like a clover. It's
Harsyra.
harsyra. Yeah, so it's something completely different with a completely different name in English.
Okay, I don't know then.
I have no idea what it could be.
Hair acid.
So that's a very
So enjoy.
literal.
Hey, thank you, Jonas.
Okay, anyway, where were we?
Yeah, well, now I feel bad. I wish we could share this with you folks.
you can come visit.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you're eating at home while we try and find the questions that you've been asking. There's been a couple of questions about M1, about Apple Silicon
Oh yeah.
support. Is that?
Per maybe for the question?
Wow.
No, you can
Yeah,
stay. For M1, yeah. So Apple are releasing a new like paradigm in processors, and they need to be compiled natively. So any kind of source code to run on them would need some particular changes to work. There is, while all the companies in the world get ready to do that, they have some kind of converter thing called Rosetta or something. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pass the mic to Anders. He knows a lot more about this.
I think you'll have to switch angle if I'm gonna be in in pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm busy eating.
okay, that's fine. Leave me out. It's okay. I'm not that interesting to look at, but now that I'm talking, maybe. So yeah, the M1 runs on an ARM architecture instead of the x86-64 that we have stuff for right now. What that means is that we need to change some things around to make them work properly on the ARM architecture and compile them for the M1 processors or the Apple Silicon processors, which we haven't done yet. So we don't have like native support for M1, but like Per said, Apple also has the Rosetta converter or like translation layer, which means you can run the regular stuff or the old stuff on Apple Silicon as well, with a slight performance hit. But it's actually surprisingly small, so well done Apple, I guess, because yeah, it's kind of amazing in a way. But it works fine. As far as we know, we have M1 computers, it runs fine. We have users using some and they run fine. But at some point, yes, we will need to make native versions as well. But with everything going on, we have not had time doing so yet. So that's the story about M1.
It seems to be a common theme, and I hate to point it out, but there's only so much time available. What are we going to do about this? That's my question.
Yeah.
How do we make more time?
Yes, we get into quantum physics here, and how to like the parallel universe theory, how we can do multiple things simultaneously and then combine them, maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
That'd be neat. I understand we're slightly hiring also.
Yeah, we are slightly hiring. If you go to kilohearts.com/careers, you can see what we're looking for. We do want to get some more people on board, C++ engineers, and we have some other things on there. But I think engineers for the C++ parts are something we're actively looking for. Slowly but actively. So we're waiting for the right one to come along.
Absolutely. That's a Jimmy Webb song.
Probably is.
I think so. It's very good.
Our soulmate is out there.
So it's not, it's Stephen Bishop. I take it back. I apologise.
Okay, you're out.
Yeah. Send me away. Hey, wonderful. So I think we'll take one more question from our previously submitted questions. And then I'm going to go and find some more of that cheese, because it was amazing.
It was delicious.
Hello, Kilohearts, says Alex Merck. Is a sequencer planned as a modulation source? Thank you. Best regards.
Yes, no, maybe. We have investigated in various ways. We have ideas for how to do it, what we want to do. And I don't really think we will have a definitive answer there, but we do want to add more than one modulator that has sequencer-ish capabilities. Exactly what that means, I think the future will have, or maybe Per will have to tell.
All right, so when people say a sequencer, I think many of us think about something that looks like a MIDI roll like from your DAW, with a note height and then a tone note length, and you can create a melody with like gaps in it and whatever. I'm gonna say with some confidence that is unlikely to happen in that exact way in our plugins. For one, our modulators only have one output, which would either be note height or note volume. It's hard to do both in the same kind of output from a modulator, and a modulator with two outputs could be difficult to explain to a user how to set it up. So that's one of the reasons that like a standard sequencer doesn't really fit into our synthesizer, or I would even argue it doesn't really fit into almost any synthesizer, even though I know some of them have it. And then another reason is some people like to like make a song inside of Faceplant. There are a bunch of presets that are like one note song. You press E4 and it plays Happy Birthday, or it plays like this one guy made on Twitter. He made like the entire Game of Thrones theme song on a single note. It's awesome, but it's not super usable when you're making music. So that's another reason why we kind of want to stay clear a little bit, at least, from anything that is too far from what a synthesizer is supposed to do. Like the DAW is supposed to make the music using instruments, and the synthesizer is supposed to be the instrument, or at least that's how we feel about it. But our modulators are naturally in kind of a gray area of this. Already there is a stepped drawing tool in our LFO, so you can easily like make a stepped LFO that is just sharp edges, and that is sort of a sequence of values, if you will. We might end up making some kind of modulators that are even more to the point when you're trying to create a fixed number of set values that appear in a certain order. That's one way of interpreting what a sequencer would be. And then if you wanted to make an actual melody with like gaps in it and whatever, then you'd have to use two of them, one to control the pitch of your generator and one to control the output level, I guess. And who knows, maybe these group presets are going to be great for that kind of stuff. They're going to make it easy to reuse your sequences, even though they were a little bit trickier to set up than your normal MIDI, like your MIDI piano roll thing. So yeah, we don't have a definitive answer on what it's going to look like, but almost certainly it's not going to be something like you would recognize from your DAW.
It's a thorough answer, I would say. I've got a question from, well, it's not a question, well, it's maybe a question. Alejandro GR, I have to go, but you have the best customer service, brackets Discord. PS, we want more merchandising. My wife wants to steal my Kilohearts t-shirt. Do we have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. We have a great guy helping us with support. His name is Simon Claudius, and he's not here right now due to the fact that he lives in Germany and can't travel for Corona, or, well, maybe he could because he's vaccinated, but not for this evening. He's going to be with us, though, when we go to some trade shows this year and the next. One of them is going to be Super Booth in Berlin. So if you have the opportunity to go there and want to see us, you should find us on the trade show map, and you might be able to speak to our excellent customer service agent Simon Claudius as well. Yeah, he's gonna, if you have any issues at all with Kilohertz software or payments or web or like information or anything, just please drop us an email at support@kilohertz.com. And about the merch, we have a bunch of merch that we like had made in the hopes of actually selling it. But then it turned out that selling individual pieces of like t-shirts or baseball caps or whatever, and then shipping them internationally is really expensive. The shipping is the shipping is much more expensive than we had ever imagined. We thought like, okay, it's okay to just go to the post office and send one of them away. It's not too bad. But then we thought, we'll do this proper. We'll get a company account with one of the major shipping brands, and it'll get cheaper. Turns out it's like twice as expensive as going there, like with a single packet every time, like a private individual. So that kind of tripped us and made it super hard for us to continue trying to sell merch internationally, because shipping is, it's much more expensive than the actual goods. So no one wants to pay.
We'll have to make super premium merch that costs like $500 million, and then the shipping won't seem like a problem.
Right, but yeah, so $50 for a baseball cap isn't really. I don't really feel great.
No, but a
charging
Kilohearts
that.
Baseball cap.
Yeah, well, that's
no
nice
less.
And all, I guess, but. If you want a $50 baseball cap, you can email me and we'll set up something with PayPal.
I have actually a game for us to play, which is what merch item would we introduce if we could? Maybe we can pass the mic around. I have an idea to kick us off.
Well, I have an idea
Go on.
As well, and I wanted to do this for a long time, and we sort of almost did a little bit. So my idea initially was to make something to put on the store counter in a physical music store. I wanted us to be, front and center when you get in the store. So my idea was that the snap-ins they're not as software goes or as plugins go, they're cheap comparatively. So I wanted to put like these small candy boxes. What are they called in English? Like tablettask?
Yeah, a little tin, a little metal.
Yeah. No, like in paper.
Oh, sure, like for.
Yeah, like a Tic
Tacs
Tac box or something, with Kilohertz candy inside, and then on the inside it would also have a redeem code for your plugin. So you would buy them like 1 or 2 at the store and get some candy and a plugin. So that's something I wanted to do for a long time. Turns out it was super difficult to make it work, but we ended up doing Faturator energy drink, which we should have one here, but we don't. I'm sorry, but but we ordered like last spring, like early, very actually it was, I guess, around New Year's or so last year. We ordered like a pallet of it to bring to trade shows. And then we got it, and everything got cancelled. So it was just rotting away in a storage unit, unfortunately. And the expiry date is coming up, I think. So I don't know who's gonna drink all of that, but that's a shame. But yeah, I like physical goods that are like edible representations of our plugins. That's my thing.
What about the idea we had to make Kilohertz branded face masks? Which was an idea we pitched.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Yeah. Before the Corona, just like 2 months before Corona was the thing. Yeah, we actually tried to print Kilohertz face masks, like 2 months before the pandemic hit. So we were kind of.
I got to ask.
Schedule there.
Who else was thinking about face masks at that time? What
Ravers.
Brought it up?
Ravers,
yeah,
right. Yeah. You see, right. I should have known.
Yeah, and you should, let's hear your idea.
Hey, well, sure. I will talk into both microphones. No, I won't. I'll hand that one over. But and please, folks at home, get your ideas in the comments, and we just might probably not do them. My idea, the thing that I really like in merch is those really, like, old-fashioned quality enamel pin badges. I really like them. I want to put them on a blazer and go around pretending to be a lord. I want to really like brightly coloured with like some subsurface scattering and just lovely, like bright red Kilohearts pin
Yeah,
or something.
I could see that happening.
I think that'd be really nice. Yeah, that's it. It's not funny, but it's definitely a good thing.
Is
That's
it my
all.
turn?
Yeah.
Do you have something?
I guess I should have thought of something during the time here. Before.
Pressure.
I don't know really. Maybe a full-on Kilohertz jacket or something like more expensive. not because for selling it but just something that looks cool.
Yeah, here
something.
you go. Look,
Here comes
the
a
saturator.
Oh boy.
Maybe we should.
Can we show it up close?
Take it a little
somehow?
closer, yeah.
So this is the Faturator energy drink.
That looks so gross, guys.
Yeah,
It is kind of gross.
Delicious.
Is that going... Can I have it?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I haven't
Yeah.
tried one of these yet.
I think we should switch. You can sit here for a while.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Anders
We've-
wants to go eat.
Yeah.
Go eat. Yeah.
We talking about merch and crazy ideas.
This is Klaus, by the way.
Hello.
We'll come to you in a second.
We have been talking about leaning into the love idea, sort of, with the heart shape of the logo and everything. And we were joking about making Kilohearts branded sex toys for for giving away. I don't know. That didn't come very far.
Food and sex toys. You seem to be choosing stuff with regulatory vigor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kilohertz defibrillator. When you eat too much melted cheese.
Yeah, that could be useful. Yeah. Hello, Klaus. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the fine folks at home? All 66 of them. Wow.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Klaus, and I've been hired to develop the new JavaScript. What do you call it? VST engine that we're gonna have. So you can code your own VSTs in JavaScript straight into Faceplant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've been looking at YouTube on programming tutorials, and it's shaping up to be great, actually.
All right. Well,
That sounds true to me.
Yeah, no, that's
What is the real story?
yeah, I'm gonna do some backend work, I guess, for internet stuffs.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. We can
Oh.
tell the people what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a social presets thing that I'm gonna build, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start after this summer. Yeah.
And what exactly is a social presets thing?
Yeah, so the idea is that we want people to get access, or actually we want people to be able to spread their presets far and wide, and hopefully to do it right there in the plugin. So the idea is, if you have a saved preset, you can click a button and make it accessible to everyone else using our software. So in a sense, the preset browser of the plugins is gonna be online, if you will. And our hopes is that this is gonna give people access to an almost infinite amount of pre-made presets, and they are hopefully gonna be you're gonna be able to sort based on popularity, basically, so you can find great stuff, and you can find stuff made by your favorite artist, hopefully. And yeah, it's a big project, and it requires many intricate parts working together, cloud-based storage, moderation, like malicious code detection, many parts to this seemingly easy thing that Klaus is going to help us build. And we had initially hoped to have it done by this fall. I don't think that's realistic anymore. We have had some problems along the way, but it's coming. So maybe sometime early next year, or yeah, something like that. It's something I've been super excited about for a long time. My first design sketches for this are from, I looked it up actually, it's from 2016. and I've been advocating it since, and yeah, we're still not really there. But I hired Klaus to help out, so yeah.
That seems like a step in the right direction, for sure.
Hope so.
Let's hear a little more from Klaus about it, but while we hand over the mic, Disla Music says Kilohearts sticker for my laptop. That sounds doable.
Yeah, we have had we have had various prints of Kilohertz stickers. Absolutely easiest way to get one has been to find us at a trade show, but preventing that, I think those could be easy enough to ship maybe. So
Awesome.
we should look into that. Yeah.
Sweet. Navi Retlove says, merch idea, Kilohearts whiteboard and snap-ins magnets set. Great for prototyping patches and learning sound design. Yeah. And Hypertext says, Kilohearts hoodie.
Yeah.
I'd have one of those. Not right now. It's about 300 degrees in Sweden.
Yeah.
It suddenly went all tropical, like 4 or 5 days ago. Hey, yeah,
Melted cheese.
that looks fantastic.
I don't want you to
Instant heart attack. It's really,
Great.
Really great.
Let me try it.
Yeah, but I actually have a really nice Kilohertz sticker for my old laptop. It looks like some kind of Kirby looking thing.
Oh yeah, we have this mascot, the Kilo Blob. Maybe if you hung out in our Discord, you saw him. He's our kind of front man. And spoiler, he might be getting his own game soon.
Yeah, was I supposed to talk about the social presets?
You got to keep talking because I'm
Okay,
just
yeah.
chowing down now. I'm going to be no use for about the
Yeah,
next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I have not yet started with, but I have some ideas, and yeah, that's all I have to say. No,
Can you tell us maybe what one thing is going to make it great?
yeah, that's that I've made it from the ground up, and that's gonna make all the difference. No, I don't know.
Is there something kind of unique about it?
Yeah, I guess so. But then again, technology isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You have to like polish stuff. Yeah, and how much you polish it, that's what makes it great, in my opinion. And that's where Kilohearts really shines.
Well, that comes back to what I was picking up on. I've got my own, thanks.
Oh, you got your own, sorry.
Earlier on with the code maintenance and just keeping things that might seem like old news up to date and tidy. It seems like Kilohearts really does a good job of that, and it's something that matters, and it really does, because in the long term that's going to save us time and it's going to make our stuff better.
Yeah. And I've been working with software development, like business systems, for 10 years, and it's always the technical depth that kills stuff and makes it boring to work with and takes the edge of stuff. And it's always a bit of a fight to keep that, to hold that back. You always want to do the new and shiny stuff, but in the end, it's the old stuff is still there, and you need to build on top of it most of the time. But I get a blank slate, which is nice, so I can mess up from the beginning.
Yeah. And I know they already talked about it, but Anders and Per are really great at, it's called refactoring, like rebuilding something that was already there, but making it better in software development. And they do a great job of that. So keeping a lot, like large parts of a really large code base constantly being worked on and improved over time. So yeah, that's great. And one of the kind of advantages to our modular system, and I think we briefly touched on this before, we have like a shared code base that all of these plugins use, except for KHS1, which is like the black sheep or the odd one out. But all the other ones have a shared code base. So whenever you use the Kilohertz installer to update the plugins, you don't just update one, you update all, sort of, because what you really do is you update the big chunk that all of the plugins load. So the plugin files are actually pretty small. They're like tiny shims, and what they do is they load the big file, and since that one is always being worked on, it always benefits from all the bug fixes and stuff that we do. So even if it's something that might not be seemingly irrelevant for another plugin, a later bug fix could be really helpful for it in the long run. So that also like ties into the fact that they are always up to date.
That's it. That's awesome. I have a couple of really good questions kind of following on from the thought of social presets. One from Hazmat Production. Would there be any way of protecting patches? So if someone were to buy a paid preset pack made by a sound designer, they couldn't just share them all for free?
Yes, there would be a way to do that. We're not going to tell you what it is, but there would be a way to protect your patches. At least to the point where it's a hassle to like copy it. So the copy protection isn't going to be rock solid. It's going to be an annoyance. If you really want to copy something, you could start from a blank patch and like basically recreate stuff and try to circumvent it, and maybe you'll succeed. But even if you do, hopefully the like popularity system built into all of this is gonna help out the original creator more than any copycats. But just downloading a patch and then resaving it and re-uploading it, that is not gonna be possible if you if it's a like paid thing. Maybe Per has something else.
Hi guys, I'm back. So yeah, for me, loading a preset and editing it and then using it as your own is a very important feature to have. Like, I would never want to lock that down. So there's a fine line of like, what's a remix that brings something new to the table? That's like a new preset, and what's copy? It's tricky, and I think it will need human intervention at some point to draw that line in the end. But there are some automated stuff we could do too.
And we are going to do some of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Panjic says, is it hard for a usual programmer to work on audio plugins, or does it require a big amount of signal processing knowledge?
No, like we had almost none. On the other hand, we did work on graphics, me and Anders. And Anders had some experience with simulation, which is tangential to signal processing. But mostly you can do very simple stuff like a delay or a distortion. Just like go for it. Like making it really high quality is kind of tricky, but like to me the easiest way of learning it is to try it and running into a wall and then reading lots of papers and searching the web and then figuring it out.
Is it kind of a cutting edge pursuit, or is there a ton of information on
There
it?
is a ton of information. Like a lot of the stuff we do has been known about for years and years. And there's a lot of papers online, a lot of books that's freely available. And you need some math background to be able to understand it, but it is like just read it over and over again and try it out until you understand it. It is understandable and possible. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Okay. I will dive back into the early questions, and there's one here that's how can I make my own content bank?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. If you're not familiar, we have something similar to like sound banks from other companies, but we call them content banks because they don't necessarily only contain samples. They could, most of them actually contain a bunch of presets, the most common ones being faceplant presets. We sell these on our website. You might have to like fiddle a little bit, go to the top menu and find content banks, and then there's a page with a bunch of them. We have some really cool ones from some really famous and awesome artists. And you should check 'em out.
Nasco, Andrew Huang,
Yeah, Nasco.
Kill the Noise.
Yeah.
Oh, I've started a list now. I have to remember them all. We have Arrow Vein, Addiction,
yeah, a bunch of super
Dash
cool stuff.
Glitch,
Yeah,
just
Dash-
released one. There's one more.
There's a bunch
Empty
more.
Vessel,
Empty Vessel, yeah, and some
New Loops.
right, and more coming every day. Almost, not really, but every month, hopefully. And we have some really cool, exciting, upcoming ones as well. So check those out. But back to the question: can I create my own one? Yes, you can. If you go to our website again and you go to the FAQ section and you scroll down to the very bottom, there's a link to a tool for creating your own bank. It's a really early version, so we are looking to improve it. There are actually some improvements on the way, but it is usable to compile a set of preset content files and then export them into a bank file that you can then sell or give to your friends, and they can install them into Faceplant by simply dragging the bank file onto Faceplant when it's running, or any of the other plugins actually.
You're allowed to sell your bags?
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah, okay.
You can sell them if you like. We don't judge. And then so just as a footnote, it's not just Faceplant preset you can put in these. You can put samples if you have the copyright for them, and you can also put wavetables, and you can put like LFO shapes and any type of content that is browsable in our plugins is possible to
Gain
put.
presets.
Gain presets, yeah, those are the best. Yeah,
1 decibel,
yeah.
2 decibels.
Oh,
And-
endless possibilities.
well, not really endless. You know, it just goes to plus 30. So
Oh,
yeah.
60 possibilities.
Yeah, 60 possibilities. Right, yeah, so you can. Check out
Awesome.
the FAQ page. Scroll down to the very bottom.
Great. We'll expect to see at least 64 new
Presets
content banks
for-
coming
for
soon.
gain.
A comment from, where is it now? Here it is. I haven't deleted it, have I? No. A comment from CYR4X. Hello, greetings from Guayaquil, Ecuador.
Wow.
Hi there. Nice to see you. No question attached,
Okay.
but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Can be a statement sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a question, a real question here from Mr. Bill. Hi, Mr. Bill.
Hi.
Thoughts on concatenative synthesis as a mainstream type of synthesis, like additive, granular, subtractive, etc.? That's the most Mr. Bill question I've ever heard. Thank you.
Concatenative, like,
Concatenative,
yeah, I guess like splicing samples together.
coming together of things. Honestly,
actually
I've
not-
never ever heard of it. I'm going to
Yeah.
be the first one to say,
Yeah.
but it sounds brilliant.
Well, look it
What-
up, I
what-
guess.
What
Sounds
might
perfect.
it be?
Yeah, I think it sounds like splicing samples together and then playing it. But
Yeah, I really have no idea what it is, but I did have an idea for an oscillator where you play a sample and then restart it.
Mm-hmm.
And the frequency where you restart it is the notes
Oh,
you
neat,
play.
yeah.
And then how quickly you play the sample could be like the timbre.
Mm-hmm.
So you get some sort of pitch shifty quality to it.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I'm not sure if that's what Mr. Bill is referring to, but
Yeah, as a percentage, how close is that to...
teach us your ways.
And then that's your answer. But thanks for the question. It's a great question, and we always like to have new things to think about and look into. And,
Yeah.
well, I say we. I'm not going to look into it. I'm far too stupid, clearly. But these guys might. It's going to be cool. Awesome. So, excited for granular, says Acoustics.
Yeah,
Same,
always.
same.
Musar also talking about granular. Yeah, lots of people into
is going to be
granular.
a game changer, I think. When
Yeah.
we get around to it, it's not going to be very soon. I'm sorry to say
In the
that.
short term, there's a really hacky, crappy video tutorial that I put together a little while ago on our YouTube channel, and go and just search granular and you'll find me not really doing granular, but trying to in
I mean,
the sample engine, and it's pretty cool.
Hearing what those granular sounding pads that people do already
Yeah.
without granular. It's just going to be amazing when they do get their hands on their real thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to be super looking forward to it.
Boggy Autodog is asking, is that a pond or a road on the right? On the other
That's a great question. Let's take a peek.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if I just made you listen without seeing Per for a while there. That's my fault. Apologies. Over there is a little track.
Yeah.
It's not a pond, it's gravel.
Yeah, it's where you park your RV.
Yeah.
You come and visit.
Exactly, yeah. And very nice it is too. But I've been reliably informed there is a lake down there.
No one can see it.
Yeah, the lake.
Yeah. What's the deal with the lake? You said it was all, there's like a layer of...
Yeah, it's overgrown because of the farming for many years. So it's it's nothing much. It's
So
an old
no
lake.
wakeboarding
No,
right now.
but I've been hoping to clear it out somehow. Not sure how that's gonna work out.
Big
Will
hammer.
be- yeah, I guess. But back to actual questions. I see a few questions asking, will version 2 be a paid upgrade? The answer is no. It's gonna be free upgrade.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It might come with some snap-ins though.
Yes, if it comes with snap-ins, those are gonna be paid as per normal. But
Additional snap-ins,
yeah,
right.
like new snap-ins, yes. But all of the feature updates to the hosts are free. So yeah, that's
Wow.
Thank you, subscribers.
Yeah, and exactly. If you're a subscriber, then everything is free, sort of, as long as you subscribe. So yeah,
Yeah.
access to all new snap-ins and any new updates, all the new content banks we release, everything, as long as you subscribe. So
I should clarify, not subscribe to the YouTube channel, although you can do that as
Oh,
well,
right,
but subscribe to the Kilohearts subscription.
Yes.
So go to kilohearts.com and click the button to subscribe. And it's a subscribe to own model, as
Yeah,
I
sure.
understand it. So after 12 months, you get a voucher to the value of $100.
Yep. So it's,
And you can buy the things that you use the most and have them as permanent owned products. And
Exactly.
the same again after another 12 months, and so
Yeah.
on and so on.
Yeah, so you can keep collecting like cash back, or not cash, but what is it? Rewards balance.
Value back.
Like your rewards balance is gonna keep ticking up for every year you subscribe.
Yeah, that's really neat. So it's a kind of a low monthly payment, and you get the value of it in your pocket in the end. It's not like renting your apartment and
Exactly.
you just pay that horrible landlord all day and all night. And yeah, okay, great, cool. We have a definition from Wikipedia.
Okay.
Concatenative synthesis is a technique for synthesizing sounds by concatenating short samples of recorded sound, called units.
It
So
sounds
granular-
awfully like granular synthesis to me.
Except
does.
except for it has more than one sample in it. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Granular is a bit more.
Yeah. Granular would be like concatenating small snippets from various places in one sample.
Yeah.
While this sounds like concatenating stuff from various places
Yeah, I
in
wonder if it's more like
more
musique
samples.
concrete or whatever. The French people, they splice the tapes.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Macro granular.
Yeah. Hey, tremendous.
All right. Well, no immediate plans then, but it could be cool. Actually, I'm gonna look into it more because I don't think it sounds like it has some overlap with granular, and if it does, maybe it's something that we could think about for when we're doing final designs and
Could be the
implementation.
turbo
yeah.
mode in granular,
Yeah,
couldn't
exactly.
Bill mode.
Bill mode.
it? Yeah, nice. TM.
Yeah. Mr. Bill generator.
Nice, nice, nice. Hey, fantastic. There are so many great comments coming in, and I said at the beginning we would try to answer them all. We're so not going to be able to because you're all doing such a great job of giving us your thoughts and questions, and we love it. Thanks so much for taking the time. I'm going to try and find some more, but in the meantime, I think Klaus is going to tell us something interesting about his background and where he came from before Kilohearts.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot.
No. But right now I'm working for Megacorp, which is owned by an American telecom giant, and it's working with internet commercial, like interrupting your favorite streamed video to show you pictures of carbonated water. Yeah, it's quite soulless, quite nice. And then one day I was sitting in my office and Per knocked on my door and he came in and he said like, Claes, we need to talk. And I was like, God damn, here we go. This, now his kid has beat up mine or some other yeah, this is not gonna be good. And then he said, yeah, we want you to come and make a social preset. Yeah.
Did he speak English or Swedish?
No, it was Swedish. I think. I don't remember. I had a small blackout. Yeah. And that's how I joined Kilohearts. And I really look forward to not be enriching the internet with more commercials.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we're very glad you're here. I have
so far, at least.
Yeah. I have another question from Navi Retlove. How do you feel about AI-based synthesis? Did you ever play with any AI algorithms in audio?
I have not played with them more than just going on YouTube and checking out those AI-generated songs and stuff they have, which is super cool, actually.
Never-ending metal.
Yeah, there's a
the
infinite time and death metal song that sounds like every death metal song played at once,
Great.
which is actually what death metal is. I think AI could have a place in audio processing. It's like the data is quite neat, and you should be able to feed it to like a deep learning network and have something interesting come out. We're not experts in it though, so it's probably not going to be us that makes it.
Yeah, but is there real-time possibilities, or is it like a compiled thing?
That is the problem. Like, as far as I understand it, building a model is really, really computationally intensive. But then when you have the model ready, it's just only very intensive to actually run it. But still, you could use it offline. You could use it. I think probably people are already using it for this, but like repairing audio that's been damaged, for example, filling in the blanks, is probably a great.
Noise reduction.
Noise reduction is like a killer feature as well. Yeah.
It's interesting to think about AI or machine learning in like the audio space, because real-time audio effects are filled with unsolvable problems. There are so many of them that you can't do this because the output depends on future input or whatever. So you often come up on problems that you have to solve.
Approximately?
Yeah, approximately, like the best you can, given the circumstance, and like pitch shifting or other types of like reverse echoes or whatever. It's sort of doable if you like cheat a lot, but you're gonna have artifacts and you're gonna have problems. But machine learning seems to be really helpful in like fixing those kind of problems. So maybe we could see more in those areas, like solving impossible problems poorly, but then using machine learning or AI to actually fix the results to something that sounds much better. Yeah.
Yeah, machine learning is like the magic bullet
For everything, right?
Yeah, it's magic. It is kind of magic, actually. I've been seeing, like, since you noticed this, doing it poorly and then have an AI fix it, I've been seeing some videos from NVIDIA where they do path tracing, which is like the holy grail for graphics, really, where you have like simulate each photon individually. It's like impossible to do in real time, but it's possible to do it really, really badly in real time. And you just have a grainy mess basically, and then they have an AI improve that grainy mess into a super high quality image. It's very impressive how crappy the input is and how good the output is. So I think Perry's onto something there, having an AI like improve a crappy algorithm to give a perfect result. That's very interesting.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up and have some dinner in a moment. But yeah, I've got 2 or 3 more, which will take us kind of quick-fire questions from the previously submitted questions. Any progress news on whether support for automatic VST2 to VST3 migration might be coming in a future Kilohearts update?
That's something we hope to get into 2.0. We haven't. I wouldn't say we have looked into it. We have looked into it a little bit, but it seems doable and not so hard. So we're probably going to do it. Yeah.
Hey Nate, you heard it.
No
here
promises.
First. Okay. What are the planned improvements for the wavetable editor in Faceplant?
Oh, wow, that's a large question.
Oh.
What's not to improve?
In
Actually,
2 words or less, what are the...
In my spare time, I've been working on an expression programming language, which is like a tiny scripting language, mathematical in nature, that my dream is to put that into the wavetable editor and people can write their own little code snippets to generate wavetables or modify wavetables. I think that would be really neat. And people can share these little as presets. I guess we will have them in the banks and everything.
Yeah, I guess.
And because nobody has ever done a scripting language before, it's like completely new.
Yeah, I basically had to do it myself, yeah. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, well, great.
Other than that, I think there are some usability improvements that could be made to it. I think it is for sure one of the more confusing parts of Faceplant right now.
Well, I don't have to speak, but it also has a few bugs that are really annoying. That we
You said there are some bugs.
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing, some of them, but we'll try to straighten them out.
Yeah.
Okay. Bit of honesty here. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. Final question. What's everybody eating and does it taste good? Let's ask. What's everybody eating? Does it taste good?
Yes.
I'm all done eating, but
Oh.
it tasted good.
Wheat cheese.
Fantastic.
Yeah, melted cheese.
Should we
This
give
was very
a
much
quick shout out to Linnea?
Yeah. It was very much cheese-based barbecue. I think we had cheese in like 7 different forms,
So
and all of them tasty.
Awesome.
fantastic. Well, I'm all out of questions.
Yeah, great.
And I'm not out of hunger, so I'm going to go and grab something to eat. Thanks all of you so much for being here with us on the Kilohearts show. We'll be back in about another 18 months probably, or maybe a
Give or
little
take.
sooner. Who knows? You've been terrific. Thanks for all the questions and comments, and come back next time. Subscribe to the channel and you'll be informed. So, hey
Bye.
door. Cheerio.